Hello, my friends, and thank you so much for coming to spend part of your Monday, April 15th with me. We have some news today on the deaths of Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley, and some new court documents to look at. And we have been together since almost the beginning of this case. I first reported on this case on April 2nd, which was 2 days, I think, after the women went missing on April 30th. 3 days. So I thank you all for coming to watch today, and I thank all of you who are new for coming to watch today. And if you would like to participate in the chat, I've set it to subscribers only because sometimes we have trolls in the chat and they say nasty things and vile things and use foul language, and it's not something that I tolerate on this channel. And so many people who follow me have found my channel a safe place to be able to talk and interact with each other because my moderators are the best on YouTube. And because I know that so many of you who are watching this locally from both the Oklahoma Panhandle and other parts of Oklahoma and Kansas may not be 100% familiar with YouTube, I just want to tell you that it is free to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. All you need to do to participate in the chat is just hit that little subscribe button below. And as soon as you do that, it will let you participate in the chat. And I want to thank you, everyone who is local, who watched my coverage of this from the beginning, and Rock Chalk's coverage of this from the beginning. And Rock Chalk, as most of you who are local know, was boots on the ground searching for Veronica and Jilian because she didn't see any other searching going on. But as we're going to find out from reading together the court documents, the information that led to the arrests of the 4 monsters that are currently being held in Texas County Jail. And we're going to watch the press conference after that. We're going to learn, as I originally thought, that there was a lot more going on behind the scenes than so many people were aware of. And although it may not have looked like there was a lot going on, there was a lot going on. Many law enforcement organizations were involved in investigating this case. And while it seemed like a very, very long time to have 4 arrests within 2 weeks of the women going missing is a testament to the amazing, amazing work that was going on behind the scenes. So what I would like to do with you first is take a look at these court documents. I'm going to trigger warn you if you haven't already seen them. They were not available to view on the online Oklahoma court system, OSCN, Oklahoma State Courts Network. Most of their documents are available on their online system, and it's a very user-friendly system. But at the press conference this morning, they said that the documents had to be obtained in person at the clerk's office in Texas County because that's where these 4 are being held. And so while they were put up online in some forums, they were immediately taken down, but I did get them for you. I have highlighted them for you so that we can read them together because they are public record. But if you're trying to find them now, you might not be able to find them. Thank you, Scott, so much for putting that up for me. But I really, really want to thank all of the local people who were so invested in this story and so invested in finding Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. Veronica was a mother of 2, Jilian was a mother of 4. And while it was reported that they have found 2 bodies in Texas County, they are not officially confirming that they are the bodies of Veronica and Jilian, but they did say that they do believe that they are dead. So while official notifications still have to take place and official identifications, it is a very, very sad day for the families of Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley, who have 6 children among them. And it is heartbreaking. But so many of you watched the coverage, and so many of you had information, and so many of you went to law enforcement and called in your tips, even though I know how deathly afraid you were to get involved. And it is in large part to you for spreading the word and for getting people interested in this case and for calling in the tips that this case was resolved, I believe, in the speed in which it was. And so while nobody feels good about how this case is ending for the two women that we have all come to really love and feel heartbroken for their families, at least today we can say that there are 4 horrific monsters in custody in Texas County Jail. And that is at least something. I'm going to pull up the mugshots for you because if you've been following, if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Melanie Little. I come to you with 30 years experience as a New York State trial lawyer in state and federal courts. I am now a legal analyst, commentator, and apparently I'm a YouTuber. So I analyze cases through looking at facts and court documents. And I don't cover a million cases at a time, but the cases that I cover are cases that I have a very deep interest in. And I want to be able to give you the coverage and the deep dive coverage that you deserve rather than a superficial coverage of a lot of cases. So I'm also a mother of 5, so that gives me another perspective as a mom, and my heart breaks for their children and for their spouses and for their families because nobody, no matter how old, should ever lose a daughter or a mom. It's just not right. So you know that from the beginning, I have been covering this by looking at court records. And I did not at any time name names because I did not want to dox anyone who may not be involved in this. And when we read through the court documents with regard to the custody battle, we just called her the grandmother, the mother of the father of the children. I didn't even name the father of the children because I just don't think it's right to be naming people who've not been charged in a crime. And so you're going to see today that when we go through even the probable cause affidavit and the arrest information, I've redacted a bunch of names of people who are at this point right now witnesses, and they don't deserve to be hassled or harassed. And I've redacted addresses because nobody should have their home turned into a place where grief tourists just go and take selfies. It's just not right. That kind of stuff really turns my stomach, and I don't like it. So I'm going to show you, this is the mugshots of the 4 monsters who have been arrested and were arrested this past Friday. You remember we looked at some photos from Facebook and other public pictures on the last stream that I did. I believe it was about 2 nights ago. And these mugshots, if you haven't watched that show, I have a playlist now because I think this is my 4th show on this case. You can go back and watch from the beginning, from April 2nd and then April 6th. And I think I did one 2 nights ago and then today. And you can see the pictures that were put on Facebook and how different these people look. This is Tad Bert Cullum on the upper left hand with the beard. He is the boyfriend of the grandmother of Veronica Butler's children, who is pictured here. This is Tifany Machel Adams. She is 54 years old. And you'll remember that Rock Chalk did a show with me, and she showed us a picture that she took of Tifany Adams because she ran into Tifany Adams in the dollar store. And Tifany was with the children. And she is a far cry from what she looked like in her Facebook and LinkedIn profile pictures. On the upper right hand of your screen, and I want to just get this right, is this This is Cole Twombly and his wife, Cora Twombly, on the lower right-hand side of your screen. And the two of them lived on the property of Tad Cullum, which Rock Chalk, who was boots on the ground there, after she saw my show, she got in her truck in Wichita with 2 horses, 2 dogs, and 2 guns and hightailed it down there to the scene and told us that Tad Cullum's property was something of a compound and that there's a church, or they call themselves a church, called God's Misfits, with hundreds of members. They consider themselves to be sovereign citizens. If you don't know what sovereign citizens are, they are not a legally recognized organization, but they are a group of people who do not believe that laws should apply to them. They do not believe in the law. They do not believe in paying taxes. And some people have pointed out that perhaps the reason that they had a church was so that they could avoid paying taxes. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more to come about these 4 individuals. But what you need to know is that when I went over the court documents initially, this is the woman that I was referring to in the red shirt on the lower left-hand side of your screen, Tifany Adams, who is the mother of Wrangler Rickman, who is the father of Veronica Butler's children. They were never married. They had 2 children together, and they had been in a bitter custody battle since 2019. And we went over the petition for a step up in visitation that Veronica had filed on the last stream that I did. And it was my legal opinion that Veronica's request for stepping up the visitation from supervised visitation to unsupervised visitation, and also an increase in visitation, may have been the trigger for Tifany Adams to concoct this plan. So the first thing I want to look at with you is not this, is a different document. This is the information that was filed by law enforcement, the district attorney. And it sets forth the charges that the 4 of these horrific people have been charged with. And keep in mind that Oklahoma is a death penalty state. And with the bringing of these charges, the death penalty is in play. So let's take a look at the information. We're just going to go over the information for one of the defendants because they're likely all the same. And this is the only one that I could get my hands on this morning when all this information broke. So this is in Texas County, Oklahoma. And the reason that this is in Texas County, Oklahoma is because that is where the crime occurred. Tifany, this is not the redacted version that I wanted to show you. Hold on one second. Tifany lived in Keys, Oklahoma, or lives there, actually, still. I just want to redact her address. Give me one second. Population of approximately 267 or something. That is in Cimarron County. But the murders occurred in Texas County, and that's why the charges are being brought there, and that is why they are being held there. And then we're going to look at the affidavit of probable cause which is signed by a member of law enforcement, and it's going to set forth a lot more information about exactly what happened. So we're going to glean a little bit of information from that. So this was filed on April 12th, which was Friday. And I don't think that news of the arrests broke until Saturday, because that is the day that I covered with you on Saturday, the 13th. Is the chat moving slowly? Did somebody say that? I wonder if it's on slow mode. Let me just double check for a second. I don't think it is. It shouldn't be. Two seconds. No, it's not. Okay, so here is the information that was filed, and it was filed on Friday, April 12th. And here are the charges for Tifany Machel Adams of Keys, Oklahoma. She's 54 years old. And interestingly enough, she was born on Halloween. Count 1 is murder in the first degree with deliberate intent, a felony under 21 Oklahoma Statute 701.7a. Count 2, murder in the first degree, deliberate intent, 21 OS Section 7017A, a felony. Count 3, kidnapping, 21 Oklahoma Statute 741, a felony. Count 4, kidnapping, 21 Oklahoma Statute 741, a felony. Count 5, conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree, deliberate intent, 21 Oklahoma Statute 421, a felony. So there is a count of murder in the first degree for each victim. That's why you're seeing 2 counts there. And then there is a count of a charge of kidnapping, felony kidnapping for each victim. That's why you're seeing 2 charges there. And then there is a count for conspiracy to commit murder. And that is count 5. Reads as follows. State of Oklahoma, County of Texas. I, George H. Leach III, the undersigned district attorney of said county, in the name and by the authority of the state of Oklahoma, give information that in said county of Texas and in the state of Oklahoma, Tifany Machel Adams did then and there unlawfully, willingly, knowingly, and wrongfully commit the crimes of count 1, murder in the first degree with deliberate intent, a felony, by aiding and abetting in the commission of the deliberate and intentional taking away of the life of a human being on or about the 30th day of March, 2024, and then and there willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously, without authority of law, did aid and abet in the death of Veronica Butler, who was lured to the location of Highway 95 and Road L in Texas County, Oklahoma, and certain mortal wounds were inflicted. And Veronica Butler did in fact die as a result of the wounds inflicted. I'm going to break from the document for 2 seconds to point out that, number 1, it is believed that the murders occurred on the date that the women went missing, which was that Saturday, March 30th, when they were traveling from Hugoton, Kansas to Eva, Oklahoma to pick up Veronica's children. And if you're new, you may not know that Jilian Kelley was likely collateral damage in that she was one of 4 approved by the court monitors to supervise the visitation for Veronica Butler of her children. And she was traveling with Veronica. We're also learning from this that they were lured to the location of Highway 95 and Road L because the car was found down Road L in a very desolate area that they probably would not have otherwise been on, because the original pickup point under the court order was at 4 corners. And you remember we went over that. It's not the 4 corners where the 4 states meet. It is literally an intersection in this area, 3 miles from where their car was found. And we're also learning from this that Veronica did die as a result of the mortal wounds that were inflicted upon her. Back to the document. This crime is punishable by death, imprisonment for life, or imprisonment for life without parole. Count 2. Murder in the first degree, deliberate intent, a felony, by aiding and abetting in the commission of the deliberate and intentional taking away of the life of a human being on or about the 30th day of March, 2024, and then and there willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously, without authority of law, aid and abet in the death of Jilian Kelley, who was lured to the location of Highway 95 and Road L in Texas County, Oklahoma, and certain mortal wounds were inflicted, and Jilian Kelley did in fact die as a result of the wounds inflicted. This crime is punishable by death, imprisonment for life, or imprisonment for life without parole. Count 3. Kidnapping, a felony. On or about the 30th day of March, 2024, by aiding and abetting the forcible seizing of Veronica Butler from Highway 95 and Road L, County of Texas, Oklahoma, and confining Veronica Butler in another vehicle and transferring said victim to another location without lawful authority and with the intent to cause Veronica Butler to be confined and imprisoned against her will. This crime is punishable by imprisonment for not more than 20 years. Breaking for a second to point out that it has been determined that apparently the women were kidnapped from the vehicle that they were in and transported to another vehicle and then transferred to another location. We don't know the exact location yet. Count 4, kidnapping, a felony. On or about the 30th day of March, 2024, by aiding and abetting the forcible seizing of Jilian Kelley from Highway 95 and Road L, County of Texas, Oklahoma, and confining Jilian Kelley in another vehicle and transferring said victim to another location without lawful authority and with the intent to cause Jilian Kelley to be confined and imprisoned against her will. This crime is punishable by imprisonment for not more than 20 years. Count 5, conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree, deliberate intent, a felony, by conspiring and agreeing with Tad Cullum, Cora Twombly, and Cole Twombly to commit the crime of murder in the first degree, a felony, on or about between the 13th day of February, 2024, and the 30th day of March, 2024, by arranging and planning the deliberate, intentional, and unlawful taking away of the life of Veronica Butler and or Jilian Kelley, and the defendant and or co-conspirators did purchase burner phones, stun guns, and travel to the area of Highway 95 and Road L, County of Texas, Oklahoma, in furtherance of the conspiracy. This crime is punishable by imprisonment for not more than 10 years, or a fine of not more than $5,000, or both such fine and imprisonment. So we're learning here that the 4 of them, Tifany Adams, Tad Cullum, Cora Twombly, and Cole Twombly, have been planning this since on or about February 13th until the day of the crime and the murders, which was on March 30th of 2024. And that they purchased all of these things in furtherance of the conspiracy. And showing conspiracy means you have to show an overt act, and the overt act is likely the purchasing of these items. And also we're going to get into some cell phone forensics in the probable cause affidavit. So let me just come to the chat for a moment and see how you guys are doing. Joanne, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Pico Pakenko, for becoming a new member, and Jem for becoming a new member. I appreciate you. Duty Ron, thank you so much for coming in and contributing $20. Thank you for being classy. I'm honored to call you a friend. Oh, I'm honored to call you my friend as well. Duty Ron has a channel. He's retired law enforcement, 25 years as a homicide detective, NYPD. And if you are not already, go subscribe to his channel. He did some great coverage on this earlier today. Barb, thank you so much for the super chat. Melanie, thanks from Kansas City for being the dog with a bone warrior for these 2 moms. Motherless kids is heartbreaking. You've been amazing. Thank you so much, Barb. And really to all of you too who've reached out and sent me information and your thoughts and your insight into the area. And really, you didn't give up either. You guys really, I believe, helped law enforcement to such a degree that, in a little over 2 weeks, there are 4 people in custody, and there may be more coming. So Rock Chalk is in the house. Hi, Rock Chalk. It's a great day, right? It's a great day for justice. Let's now take a look at the probable cause affidavit. I'm going to trigger warn you again because some of this stuff is going to be hard to hear, but these are court documents, and this is what we do here. I've redacted her address because I don't want anybody going by her house. There she is. There's Rock Chalk. Go follow Rock Chalk. Rock Chalk gave a lot of hours and boots on the ground to this case and did not give up. Somebody said, did Wrangler know? We don't know. We're going to find out because it's going to be in some of the documents. They did interview him. Okay, so in order to arrest someone, you need to have probable cause, and probable cause is set forth in an affidavit by a law enforcement officer who has personal knowledge of the case. And in this case, this was filed on last Friday, April 12th, in the Texas County Clerk's office. And this was signed by Special Agent in Charge, Special Agent Jason Ott of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, or OSBI. And this is regarding the defendant, Tifany Machel Adams. I believe all 4 of the affidavits are going to read the same way, so we're just going to read one today. Tifany Machel Adams, Halloween. She was born 5'7", 145 pounds, and she lives in Keys, Oklahoma. I've redacted her address. Do not go there. This is the affidavit of probable cause for an arrest warrant. The undersigned of lawful age, being first duly sworn upon oath, deposes and states as follows. Let's just, let me just find a trigger warning here. One sec. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl is one of my amazing mods, and I see the little cupcake is here too. Thanks, you guys, for being here. I am Special Agent Jason Ott of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. I've been a law enforcement officer in the state of Kansas and Oklahoma for approximately 27 years and served in the capacity of an investigator, for over 20 years. I have read and prepared certain official investigative reports and statements of witnesses regarding the above-named defendant. And from these statements and reports, it appears as follows. On Saturday, March 30th of 2024, the Texas County Sheriff's Office requested Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, OSBI, investigative services with the suspicious disappearance of Veronica Butler, 27, and Jilian Kelley, 39, from rural Texas County after their vehicle was found abandoned near Highway 95 and Road L south of Elkhart, Kansas. Butler and Kelley were traveling to Oklahoma from Hugoton, Kansas. Okay, so right away, the day that it was known that Veronica and Jilian went missing, right away, Texas County Sheriff's Office asked OSBI to come into this investigation, which is amazing work. Because a lot of times, and Duty Ron will tell you this, a lot of times in certain jurisdictions, they don't want any outside jurisdictions coming in and investigating their case. So props to Texas County Sheriff's Office in this case. Interviews were conducted related to their disappearance, and it was discovered that Butler was in a problematic custody battle with Tifany Adams for the custody of Butler's 2 children. The father of those children was Wrangler Rickman, Adams' son. Butler's visitation with her children was court-ordered to be supervised every Saturday. Adams had a particular person she preferred to supervise those visitations, and that was Cheryl. I redacted her last name. The court ordered Adams to pay Cheryl to supervise visits if that was who she wanted to be present. Otherwise, Butler was to choose and pay for the person to supervise visits. Adams says Cheryl was unavailable to supervise the visitation on March 30th of 2024 So Butler was required to arrange the supervision with one of her 3 approved individuals. Butler contacted Kelley of Hugoton, Kansas, and planned to have her supervise the visit. You remember also that we looked at something the other night on my last stream where it was pointed out that Tifany Adams did not like any of the other alternate supervisors other than Cheryl, and that she threatened to perhaps kill her own son if he didn't go along with everything she said. That's in a different court document. Now back to this one. Butler told family members that she was going to pick up her children from Adams at 10 a.m. at Four Corners, intersection of Highway 95 and US 64 West, a location in Texas County, Oklahoma. Butler and Kelley left Hugoton, Kansas, and traveled to Highway 95 and Road L about 5 miles north of Four Corners. Butler and Kelley arrived at that location at approximately 9:40 in the morning. Butler planned to bring her daughter to a birthday party, but after they did not arrive, the family began looking for Butler. Melissa and Joey, I redacted their last name, who were Butler's family members, located Butler's abandoned vehicle just west of the intersection of Highway 95 and Road L. Melissa and Joey then contacted law enforcement at 12:09 p.m. An examination of the vehicle and the area surrounding the vehicle found evidence of a severe injury. Blood was found on the roadway and edge of the property. Blood was found on the roadway and edge of the roadway. Butler's glasses were also found in the roadway south of the vehicle near a broken hammer. A pistol magazine was found inside Kelley's purse at the scene, but no pistol was found. Okay, breaking for a second to tell you that when Rock Chalk took us to the scene live on my show, I think that was the April 6th show, she pointed out to us that there was kitty litter poured on top of what appeared to be pools of blood. There had also been rumblings of a broken hammer in various social media platforms and other groups, but this is the first confirmation that I'm seeing in any official documents. It's the first we're hearing that Veronica's glasses were found in the roadway. And while we did know, or we were told, that Jilian never left home without her gun, this is the first I'm hearing in official documents that inside Jillian's purse, they found a pistol magazine, but not the gun. Back to the documents. Adams told OSBI that on Friday night, March 29th, 2024, Rickman and Butler's children stayed the night with Barrett and Lacey. I've redacted their last name. So this is what Tifany told the police when she was first interviewed. She told them, or the investigators, she told them that Veronica's children had a sleepover on that Friday night at these people's houses. Tifany said she planned to pick them up that morning before a visitation. Adams says she called Veronica at 900 hours at 9 a.m. to confirm the meeting, and Veronica told Tifany something came up and she was not going to make it. Okay, this is what Tifany told investigators. Tifany told them that Veronica called her and said she's not going to be able to make it. Veronica's phone records confirmed the call occurred. However, at the time of the call, Veronica was in Hugoton, Kansas, in the process of picking up Jilian to go and meet Tifany. I'm just substituting their first names in here so it doesn't get confusing. Tifany stated she was home at the time that Veronica and Jilian went missing. Adams, Tifany, picked the children up before noon from the residence of the 2 individuals I told you about before, whose name I redacted. OSBI interviewed Cheryl, and she said she was available to supervise the children that day, but Adams told her to take a couple of weeks off from the visitation so that Adams could question the children related to how Butler's approved visitation supervisors were. Veronica and Jillian's phone records indicated that their devices were actively sending signals to their carriers until approximately 9:42 a.m., after which the devices were no longer seen by the networks and stopped transmitting. Neither phone was found at the scene or within the vehicle, and they are currently missing. Adams was the last known person to communicate with Veronica and was scheduled to meet Veronica and Jillian for visitation at 10 a.m. on March 30th of 2024. So their phones have never been found, Veronica and Jillian's phones. Through the child custody case, recordings were obtained where Rickman, that's Wrangler Rickman, the father of the children, discussed death threats by Tifany and Tifany's boyfriend, Tad Cullum. The custody battle began in February of 2019 with many hearings and court appearances. On March 18th of 2024 and March 20th of 2024, motions were filed requesting extended visitation for Butler. We went over at least one of those motions. A hearing was scheduled to occur on April 17th of 2024. Butler's attorney informed OSBI that Butler was likely to receive unsupervised visitation with her children at that hearing. At times, Tifany refused to let Wrangler have his children, even though Wrangler had legal custody of them. Law enforcement previously responded to a call for service where Tifany refused to give Wrangler his children. Reportedly, the officer told Wrangler he believed the children were better off in Adams' care, Tifany's care. It's important to note here, too, that a lot of people have pointed out locally who were afraid to talk about this case that Tifany had connections within local law enforcement and that there's even someone in local law enforcement who was accompanying her to all of these custody hearings and court appearances. Rickman's grandmother, Debbie, reported that in mid to late February of 2024, Wrangler told her they didn't have to worry about the custody battle much longer because Adams had it under control, that Adams knew the path the judge walked to work, and, quote, "We will take out Veronica at drop-off," end quote. Wrangler Rickman was confined to be in rehabilitation facility in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma at the time of the disappearance. The children remain in the custody of Adams. Rickman denied having that conversation with Debbie, the grandmother. Okay, so just to back out of this for a second. Obviously, law enforcement or OSBI went to interview Wrangler in the Salvation Army rehab facility where he was ordered to go by the court. Remember, we went over these documents. He was arrested in February, late February, on a domestic violence charge against his current wife, who he married last summer, and also against his mother-in-law. Because of that charge, his probation was revoked for a prior charge that he had for being a felon with possession of a firearm. So his probation was revoked and he was sent to jail for 30 days. And I believe that was in Cimarron County. On the morning of his release, which was March 22nd, he was ordered by the court to report for an inpatient rehab stay at the Salvation Army in Oklahoma City for no less than 6 months. And he was ordered to report that same day. We did not know at the time whether or not he actually did in fact report. This is confirming that he was there at the time of these murders. So law enforcement went to rehab, obviously, to interview him. And he says that he did not have this conversation with his grandmother. This is his father's mother, Debbie. So Debbie is the one who reported to law enforcement that Wrangler told her this. He's saying, I never told her that. But this explains why the locals were saying, and Rock Chalk was telling us, that the judge was under police protection while during the 2 weeks before anyone was arrested. On April 1st of 2024, OSBI agents obtained a search warrant for Adams' cellular phone. OSBI agents performed an extraction on the device. Information gained from the device included web searches for taser pain level, gun shops, prepaid cellular phones, and how to get someone out of their house. On April 3rd of 2024, okay, this was the day, I want to point out, the first stream that I did on this show was on April 2nd. So the day after that show, I don't know who called in this tip, but somebody called in a tip or somebody let them know, or they found out that Cora Twombly's daughter might know something. So she was interviewed that day, April 3rd, the day after I did my first show, 2024. OSBI interviewed, and I'm not taking credit for that whatsoever. I'm just saying that you guys were out there calling in tips and giving information, and thank God you did. OSBI interviewed CW. She's 16 years old. CW is the daughter of Cora Twombly and a man named Kobe. I've redacted his last name. Cora is married to Cole Twombly, who is the fourth defendant in this case. CW stated that she had overheard group conversations related to Butler not protecting her children from her brother, all in reference to an SA allegation. There are certain things we can't say on YouTube, but I think you can figure out what that means. CW advised that she was told by Cora that Adams, Cullum, Cora, Cole, and a man named Paul, I've redacted his last name, were involved in the deaths of Butler and Kelley. She stated that Adams had provided burner phones to use so they could communicate without using their personal devices. CW saw 2 burner phones charging on Cora's nightstand in her bedroom. CW described Cora, Cole, Adams, Cullum, and Paul as being part of an anti-government group that had a religious affiliation. Through OSBI investigation, it was learned that they called their group God's Misfits. Regular meetings are held weekly at Twombly's and the home of Barrett and Lacey, whose name I redacted. And we knew this also from Boots on the Ground Rock Chalk, who told us about God's Misfits. Because people told her about God's Misfits. Because people who live locally, often found Rock Chalk and came and gave her information because they were afraid of speaking to law enforcement. CW was told on March 29th, 2024, that was the day before the murders, that Cora and Cole would not be home in the morning when she woke and were going to be on a mission, in quotes. When CW awoke at approximately 10 a.m., Cora and Cole were not home, but came home around noon. CW knew that Cole and Cora took a blue and gray Chevy pickup owned by them and a blue flatbed pickup owned by another man who is last name Twombly, whose name I've redacted for now, when they left and returned in the same vehicles. CW was told to clean the interior of the Chevy pickup. CW asked Cora what had happened and was told that things did not go as planned, but that they would not have to worry about her, Veronica Butler, again. CW was told that Cora and Cole blocked the road trip. Okay, I'm going to start again with that sentence. CW was told that Cora and Cole blocked the road to stop Butler and Kelley and divert them to where Adams, Cullum, and the other Twombly were. CW asked about Kelley and why she had to die, and was told by Cora that she wasn't innocent either, as she had supported Butler. CW asked Cora if their bodies were put in a well, and Cora replied something like that. CW also disclosed that other attempts to kill Butler occurred during February 2024 near Hugoton, Kansas, in which Adams, Cullum, Cole, Cora, and this fourth person went to Hugoton, but Butler did not leave her residence. This is consistent with the web searches discovered on Adams' phone about how to get someone out of their home or their house. According to Cora, the plan was to throw an anvil through Butler's windshield while driving, making it look like an accident because anvils regularly fall off of work vehicles. So I'm going to break from the document to say that a 16-year-old broke this case wide open. And my strength and prayers go out to her for being brave enough to give OSBI this information and also let them know that they had been planning this since February and that they tried another time to kill Veronica. But apparently their anvil plan didn't work out. While in Carrick, Texas, interviewing CW and her brother, Cora and Cole arrived and tried to get access to CW and her brother. Cora was verbally aggressive and was very upset with your affiant that she was not granted access to CW and her brother. Cole exited the vehicle armed with a handgun in a holster on his belt. Wow. So while law enforcement is interviewing the 16-year-old and her brother in Texas, because maybe, I don't know, maybe they're at her father's house in Texas, Cora and Cole, who are now in custody in Texas County, Oklahoma, come to get them. And Cole gets out with a handgun and a holster on his belt. And remember, Oklahoma is an open carry state. But having just learned what he learned from CW and her brother, I'm sure this agent might have been a bit nervous. OSBI investigation showed that Adams searched for gun shops on her cellular phone. A search of local gun shops shows Adam buying 5 stun guns at the Big R store in Guyman, Oklahoma. The purchase was made on March 23rd of 2024. That also goes to conspiracy, motive, planning. That was a week before the murders on March 30th. OSBI investigation showed that Adams purchased 3 prepaid cell phones from Walmart in Guyman, Oklahoma on February 13th of 2024. The phones were identified by, and then they list 3 phone numbers. Search warrants for information related to location services and phone usage were completed for each device. It was learned that all 3 phones were at the area where Butler's car was located and the last known location of Butler and Kelley at the time of their disappearance. So they're placing the phones in the location where Veronica and Jilian went missing. All 3 phones were powered on and accessed the cellular network for the first time at or near Cullum's residence at different times prior to March 30th of 2024. On March 30th of 2024, 2 of the phone numbers before Butler and Kelley's disappearance were at Twombly's residence prior to going to or near Cullum's residence. Butler and Kelley's disappearance at 10:05 and 10:16 hours. 2 other phone numbers were in the area at or near Cullum's residence. After Butler and Kelley's disappearance on March 30th of 2024, between 10:16 and 10:35 hours, it was determined that 2 phone numbers, were at a property owned by Jamie Blank, I've redacted the last name, below a dam in the pasture where fresh dirt work was located by your affiant. Anytime it says your affiant, he's referring to himself, the person who is drafting this document. Concrete was moved from a location near Jamie's residence approximately 150 to 200 yards below the dam, where it was discovered that a hole had been dug and filled back in and then covered with hay. The location where Butler and Kelley disappeared from and where Butler's vehicle was located is approximately 8.5 miles away from the location below the dam on this person's property, giving drive time from the location of where Butler's vehicle was located to Beasley's property. Okay, well, so much for the redaction. As well as well within the 34 minutes between the time of Butler Kelley's phone stopping transmission and prepaid phone numbers, 2 phones, arriving at the dam on Jamie's property. All prepaid phones stopped transmitting on the morning of March 30th, 2024 at a location near Twombly's residence and Jamie's property. Wherefore, I'm asking for a warrant for arrest. And this happens to be Tifany Adams that we're looking at for 2 charges, 2 counts of murder in the first degree, 2 counts of felony kidnapping, and 1 count of conspiracy. And this was sworn and subscribed to on April 12th, which was the Friday. Let's go to the chat for a second and see how you all are doing. Jimmy H., thank you for coming in with your super chat. Great channel and happy to be here. And Jimmy, I have to apologize that you got blocked last night. It was crazy, or whatever night that was, and apologize for that. But when the chat's moving really quickly, it's hard for the mods. Sometimes they mean to block someone else. It was you. I apologize personally and publicly to you. So sorry about that, man. Be Kind Tiger, thank you so much for your super chat. Melanie, could this be a federal case since it involves 2 states? Thanks. It looks like right now it's a state case. I don't know what they are going to do because I think that I don't know at this point what they're going to do. Right now it's in state court. And that may be who hangs on to it. We'll see. They do have the death penalty in Oklahoma, so I don't know what the reason would be for moving it into federal court, but I don't know. The answer is I don't know because I am a New York attorney, not an Oklahoma attorney, but thank you for asking the question, and I'll look into it. Beach Lover, thank you so much, who says, thank you for covering this. Many prayers. Yes, many prayers up for the families of Veronica and Jilian. I want to take a look at the press conference that was held earlier today so you can see how much work went into this and we can go over it together. And I like to stop the press conference so that you can actually hear the questions. And I like to repeat the questions to you. But before we do that, I just want to bring you a word from the sponsor of today's show, because we have a sponsor today. And hold on one second. And so if you would indulge me to watch a note from my sponsor, it is very timely, my sponsor. I use this company. It's called Aura. I use this to protect myself online and my family. And if you were affected by the recent data breach by AT&T Wireless, AT&T Wireless has announced, or AT&T announced, that 74 million customers' information was released to the dark web, including their social security numbers, dates of birth, personal information that you probably don't want on the dark web where people can steal your identity. So let's listen to a word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back, and we're going to go over the press conference together. Did you know that the odds of falling victim to online crime are 1 in 4? Online crime is soaring. It's time to get smart about online safety. That's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura provides everything you need to protect your privacy, identity, finances, and your family in one easy-to-use app. Do you even realize how much of your personal information is already out there, being sold by data brokers to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you? Well, if you Google yourself, you may find something like this. And it may shock you to know that your full name, home address, email address, health records, and even relatives, it's all out there. That's one of the reasons you need Aura. Aura shows you which data brokers are selling your information, and automatically submits opt-out requests on your behalf. Not only does cleaning up this information reduce the amount of spam that you get, but it will protect you from hackers who could use the information to help them access your social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also helps protect me and my family from online threats by providing antivirus and malware protection, a secure VPN with military-grade encryption, credit monitoring, spam call protection, parental controls, password management, identity theft insurance, and more, without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up. And best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. With the family plan, Aura will help you protect your kids by blocking harmful content, managing how much time they can spend online, and providing you with peace of mind while they game with cyberbullying and online predator threat alerts. I value my privacy and my online safety, and I value yours too. So go to aura.com/Melanie Little to start your 2-week free trial, because you can't put a price on peace of mind. I've also put the link in the video description below. You can thank me later. And just so you know, it's not just current AT&T customers. I think only 7.4 million are current customers. The rest were from pre-2019. And Curly says here, my social security number is on the dark web. I'm at a loss what to do. Look, for only 12 bucks a month, not only do you get them helping you if your identity is stolen 24/7 with live customer service. I sound like an infomercial, but really I'm not. You also get a VPN and malware protection. And I've had all that stuff separately, and it costs more than 12 bucks a month. So you can get a free 2-week trial. Just hit the link below the video so that you get that special deal. And that's what I would suggest that you do. Let's take a look at the press conference, and then we're going to go over it and we're going to talk about it. And this was just earlier this morning. I think this was about 10:30 a.m. local time in Oklahoma. So it was about 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's about 18 minutes. Here we go.
Good morning. I appreciate you all coming today.
Let me know if that volume is okay. Maybe it's just my earpiece.
Good morning. I appreciate you all coming today. As Hunter said, my name is Angela Spurlock, the director for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. As you all know, we have been working very diligently for the last 2 weeks to bring closure to the families. This has been challenging for everybody involved. This case did not end the way we had hoped. It has certainly been a tragedy for everybody involved. The mission of the OSBI, though, is to protect Oklahoma one partnership at a time, and certainly this case is an example of how those partnerships work, and how it takes everybody coming together to bring resolution. And so while I am very grateful for all of my agents that have worked since the very beginning, 24 hours a day, to get us to the point we are today, we could not have reached where we're at without the partnerships of the Texas County Sheriff's Office, the District 1 District Attorney's Office, without our FBI partners, and without the assistance of the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office and the Oklahoma Highway Patrol that could not be here. So our condolences go out to the family, and we will continue to update you as we continue to move this investigation forward. And I'm going to now turn it over to our FBI partners. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys are saying that you can hear that fine, because it's terrible in my earpiece. I don't know why. That is really weird. All right, as long as you can hear it.
Good morning. My name is Sonia Garcia. I am acting special agent in charge for the Oklahoma City Field Office, FBI. On behalf of the entire FBI, I want to express our sincerest condolences to the family and loved ones of Veronica and Jilian. The FBI was requested to assist on this matter on April 4th, and since then, we've had a dedicated team of analysts, agents, evidence response, and tactical personnel working around the clock and alongside with OSBI and
Okay, I just want to take that back for a second because I got my own volume to work, so I want to hear what she said about when the FBI became involved.
FBI. On behalf of the entire special agent,
Our FBI.
Sorry.
Good morning. My name is Sonia Garcia. I am acting special agent in charge for the Oklahoma City Field Office, FBI. On behalf of the entire FBI, I want to express our sincerest condolences to the family and loved ones of Veronica and Jilian. The FBI was requested to assist on this matter on April 4th, and since then, we've had a dedicated team of analysts, agents, evidence response, and tactical personnel working around the clock and alongside with OSBI and Texas County Sheriff's Office to bring the individuals responsible for this crime into custody and to provide a sense of closure to the families and to this community. Know that we are grieving with you today. We will continue to work with our partners and to be an advocate for Jilian and Veronica and to ensure that justice will be served. Thank you.
So FBI got involved on April 4th.
My name is Matt Bowley. I am the sheriff of Texas County, and I would also like to offer our condolences to the family. My agency's role in this is that we received a call on March 30th of an abandoned vehicle missing, with persons missing from the vehicle. Deputies immediately responded to the area. When they arrived on scene, they found some things that just weren't adding up. So we established a crime scene and then notified the OSBI to have them come and assist us with this and to actually take lead on the case. All right. We established a search party made up of the Guyman Fire Department and several of the volunteer fire departments in the county. And we searched the area around the crime scene for about a mile in each direction. Once the OSBI arrived on the scene, they took the lead and got us to this point where we are today. I'd like to thank the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, especially the Northwest region. They were phenomenal in this. The Federal Bureau of Investigations, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, Guyman Fire Department, several Kansas agencies that assisted, local agencies here in Texas County that assisted, and I'm sure I've forgotten a few, but I'd like to just say thank you, even to the public. There was a lot of questions from the public as was there any danger to the public? And I think from the get-go, once we arrived on scene, that and we gained a little bit of information that we felt this wasn't a random deal. All right, we felt that with some of the information coming in that it was more targeted, and we started to look in those areas that we were pointed to. Okay, thank you.
So if you're just joining and you haven't watched my coverage or Rock Chalk's coverage, when Rock Chalk got on scene, that was the sheriff that met her at the gas station in Guyman to kind of welcome you, right? Because you called ahead to tell them you were coming down and you wanted to search.
I'm George Harrison Leach III. I'm the district attorney for District 1. I wanted to start to let you know that on Friday, the informations were filed, and they were filed under seal. The reason they were filed under seal was to protect our law enforcement officers and to try to keep the children out of harm's way. We were successful. No shots were fired, and the children were kept out of harm's way.
Thank God. That was good. They filed them under seal on Friday. And Rock, just remind me, they made the arrests on Saturday, right? That's the day the arrests were made, or at least reported to the public. So good work, DA.
Our district judge issued an order this morning, and those files are now unsealed. So you can get the informations at the courthouse, you can get the affidavits at the courthouse, which will give you the facts that we were working off of. Additionally, I'd like to begin by, this has been an amazing enterprise. I was reading on social media some of the stuff, and there were people out there that thought law enforcement was asleep, that they weren't doing anything. There were even additional law enforcement agencies, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, Dallam County Sheriff's Office, Sherman County Sheriff's Office from the state of Texas.
Wow, that's a Texas Sheriff's Office involved, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation. Everybody rallied around, and you can see. I mean, it seems to me that he almost wants to cry. He's really, he seems really upset by this. It's heartbreaking for the people of Texas County.
Everybody came together and everybody helped. We're probably talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 law enforcement officers. Truly, no exaggeration, working night and day for 15 days. I want to thank the public. We had people calling us from North Texas Panhandle, from the Oklahoma Panhandle, from Southwest Kansas, providing us information, responding because they cared. And the information we received from them was critical. Also want to thank corporate America. I don't know how many search warrants we issued. And I'm telling you, they responded in lightning speed. Anything we needed, any order we sent, we got everything that we needed.
That means corporate America. He's talking about cell phone carriers, getting all of that cellular forensics, the towers that the phones pinged off of, and whatever information that they wanted, they got it. That's amazing. Sometimes it takes a long time to get those records, as you know.
Lastly, I'd like to thank all the law enforcement agencies that came together and worked together as a team, and all their personnel. They did a fantastic job. Thank you.
Yeah, you don't always see them working nicely together, all the different organizations. This was an amazing
Any additional questions you guys have, go right on.
investigation. 100 law enforcement officers working together 24/7 for 15 days. Props up. They're amazing. I'm going to repeat the reporter's questions so that you can understand what he's answering, because it's oftentimes very hard to hear what the reporters are saying.
On ahead.
Is there confirmation at this point that the bodies recovered are Jilian and Veronica?
Is there confirmation at this point that the bodies were recovered are Jilian and Veronica?
Not at this time. We have, we identified that there were 2 bodies during our search. Both of those deceased persons have been transported to the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office, where they will do a proper identification and also look into a cause and manner of death.
What led to the discovery of the bodies?
Based on the evidence that our
What led to the discovery of the bodies?
agents and local law enforcement were able to obtain, we used that to search a wide area throughout Texas County, and we were able to use those resources in order to find where these 2 bodies were.
Do you know the timeline for when the bodies were?
It's a case-by-case basis, but as soon as we hear back from the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office, we will let the public know.
Oh, she wants to know, do you know the timeline for when the bodies will be identified?
Can you describe the scene where these bodies were recovered and what state these remains are in?
Can you describe the area where these bodies were recovered and in what state they were in? Like in what state, meaning what condition?
No, I mean, I can say that it was a very rural area. I cannot state the condition of the bodies.
Is this private property?
Is it private property?
I cannot confirm that at this time.
In Oklahoma, there's the death penalty if convicted. Could we possibly maybe see this in the state?
You would have to
In Oklahoma, you have the death penalty. In this case, do you think the death penalty is on the table?
reach out to the district attorney's office. That'll be something that will be discussed further down the line.
DA Stewart alluded to a lot of people calling in with a lot of tips. Were there particular tips that broke this case?
The DA referred to a lot of people who called in with a lot of tips. Were there any particular tips that broke this case?
We received several tips throughout this entire process. The public, I mean, I know that we had thanked that our local law enforcement agencies, what they were able to help us and throughout this search, but the people here throughout this area have done a tremendous job of reaching out to us. The original press release that we had put out on March 31st in regards to searching for these two women, we constantly received several tips and had used those throughout the entire 14-day process in order to find these two bodies, and then also discover and find those who were responsible.
See that? The tip line, you guys, the tip line. If any of you called the tip line, I had it up on my stream the entire time for the first couple of streams. So if any of you called that tip line, may have been you. Amazing, amazing. We say that if you see something, say something. Excellent work, my friends.
For this crime.
So the reason foul play was suspected was because of evidence found in the car. Can you go into more detail now of what that evidence was?
We cannot.
She says, so that initially you said that you thought that there was foul play because of the evidence in the car. Can you go into what that evidence was?
Not still at this time. It is still an ongoing investigation, and that is for our investigative purposes. Again, we can say that the evidence that was discovered inside of that abandoned vehicle and around it, we're able to help our investigators determine that there was foul play involved, and then led to the progression of this investigation. What was in the vehicle around it, we cannot discuss.
It was quite a convoy in executing these 4 search warrants. Was there concern of resistance to arrest? How much concern was there over a possible gunfight?
There was quite a convoy when you went to make these arrests. What kind of concern was there that there was going to be gunfire if there was during the arrests?
When you are regarding arrests and multiple arrests in the magnitude that we have all discussed, there is always, there is always a cause of trying to protect the public as best you possibly can. We can say that all 4 of those arrests were made without incident, and so that, of course, went extremely well, and we are extremely grateful. Another agency that wasn't able to make it, that was a big part of that and helped us tremendously, was the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. So we want to thank them tremendously on that. But I mean, again, there was concern, but we are extremely thankful that no one was hurt, no one was injured during this process.
Did any of the 4 suspects charged in the case tell law enforcement where to find them?
Say that one.
Did any of the 4 suspects charged in this case tell law enforcement where to find them, meaning the bodies?
One more time.
Did any of the 4 suspects charged in the case tell law enforcement where to find them?
No, we cannot discuss that at this time.
How early did you guys have suspects?
We can't discuss that at this time.
Are you able to go into further detail how you believe that this was targeted and not a random act?
Are you going to go into further detail about how you believe this was a targeting and not a random act?
Based on the evidence and the information that we were able to obtain throughout the entire investigation, what was found inside of the vehicle, witnesses, family, friends of the victims that we were able to talk to throughout this entire process, we were able to gain the information to determine that that these 4 people were responsible for both of these women going missing.
Also, are you able to confirm if this was over a custody battle?
Are you able to confirm that this is over a custody battle?
Cannot confirm that at this time.
What's the relationship, if any, between the suspects and Veronica?
Again, because
What is the relation, if any, between the suspects and Veronica and Jilian?
it is still an ongoing investigation, we cannot discuss that.
We know that 1 arrest was in Texas County, the 3 others in Cimarron. Can you describe the arrest process? You said there was no resistance, but
That's all we can really say at this time.
She wanted to know about the arrest process, if there was resistance.
We can say that the 4 people that we were looking for were found, arrested, and placed into custody within the same day, and there was no resistance.
and obviously you can't talk about in this case, but is there significant physical evidence in this investigation?
Yes.
Is there significant physical evidence in this investigation?
Can you
Yes.
elaborate?
No.
Can you elaborate?
Are you able to go into the condition of the bodies that were found?
No.
Is there a reason you guys were so tight-lipped right off the start? You said there wasn't a threat to the public when you guys were investigating, but still not a lot of information was released. Is there a reason for that?
There was not immediate
He wanted to know why you said right away there was not a threat to the public. What information did you have?
threat to the public. Again, as the sheriff alluded, this was a targeted case. And when you ask about us not releasing a lot of information in that 2-week process, this is the way that our investigators work. This is what you have to do in order to get the job done, everybody involved in order to catch those responsible and do everything in our power to find both of these people who went missing from the very beginning. So again, as we tried to do, as the investigation progresses, we can release as much details as we possibly can. But again, the way that this process works is you can't give away as much as maybe you guys are asking for, because that's how we're able to catch these 4 suspects.
Did law enforcement speak with Tifany Adams on March 30th?
I cannot confirm that.
Did law enforcement speak with Tifany Adams on March 30th? He said, I can't confirm that.
Property where the bodies were found connected to the suspects at all?
She wants to know if the property where the bodies were found is connected to the suspects at all.
I cannot confirm that.
Was Kelley a court-appointed supervisor for Butler's business with the children?
Was Jillian a court-appointed supervisor for Butler's children?
Can't go into that.
So I know the bodies haven't been identified, but everyone expressed their condolences. Do you think there's any chance that Veronica and Jillian are still alive?
Do you think that there's any chance that Veronica and Jillian are still alive because you have not identified the bodies yet? Oops.
No.
Any word on arraignment?
We will look into that further. When that is made available, we will let everybody know.
As the investigation progresses, do you expect the possibility for more suspects to be arrested?
Not at this time.
Oh, he's saying not at this time. We don't expect any more arrests. Well, they have to keep that close to the vest, because if they're working on that behind the scenes, they certainly don't want to scare anybody into leaving or, knowing that they're onto them, obviously.
Have the suspects been cooperative and talkative, or have they provided any type of confession?
Have the suspects been cooperative and talkative? Have they provided any type of confession? Because remember, we did hear that Tifany confessed.
We cannot release that at this time.
Have the families helped you guys during this process?
Yes.
What's that been like?
Families, friends, people that have known both of these women who went missing have been a tremendous help. Everybody that we have talked to has helped us tremendously in doing everything they can to give us the necessary information in order for us to try to track them down and find out what happened.
Where are the children?
We can't go into that right now.
Are
They're safe. Yes.
Are they
Children are
with
safe.
them?
We can't go into that.
We learned from Rock Chalk's connections that the children may be with the father of Veronica, but at least he is now confirming that they are safe.
Now that the FBI is involved, will they face any federal charges?
We're not going to go into that right
He wants to know if there will be any federal charges now that the FBI is involved. And some people in the chat have pointed out that if this was tribal, Godween Katie, thank you. In Oklahoma, if a tribal member is involved in a crime on tribal land, it's in federal jurisdiction. That is one way. If there was crossing of state lines, that may be another way. But I do not know if it's enough that the victims cross state lines, because they did. They crossed from Kansas into Oklahoma because the defendants committed their crimes in Oklahoma. I don't know if that would rise to federal jurisdiction. But again, he says, we don't know. We have to wait.
now.
So what next? Is there going to be further investigation?
Yes, the investigation continues. The next steps are when the identification of the two victims is made, we will let everyone know. And when the cause and manner of death is made by the medical examiner's office, we will let everyone know. Right?
Were the bodies together?
We cannot confirm that.
Were the bodies together, she said.
Right now, there are no suspects at large. The public is not in danger. That's what's important to us. We are extremely grateful that we were able to locate and arrest the 4 people that we believe are responsible for this crime. As soon as the identification is made with the bodies, we will let everyone know. But again, it took everybody in this case to get this done. We know that there were people throughout the 2-week process who were frustrated, who wanted answers as soon as possible. You know, we wanted those answers too, but just know that our OSBI agents, FBI agents, troopers, Kansas Bureau of Investigation, the KHP, everybody worked nonstop in order to come together and make these arrests.
Can you talk at all about the relationship?
No, we can't go into that right now.
Was there ever any concern for the children at any point in this?
Look at him. He just wants to go. He's like, stop with the questions. Was there ever any concern with for the children? Before that, she asked, can you tell us what the relationship, I think, between the suspects is?
Like for their safety?
There's always concern whenever there's children involved, but we can say that the children are safe.
With this being such a rural area, did this make this case unique in any ways?
It made it challenging. Again, you're talking about northern Texas County, near that Kansas line. It's very rural. Those of you in the media that have been up there covering this, there's not a lot of homes, not a lot of buildings or businesses. Sometimes you could use cameras to help you in this case. We did not have that. So that's what made it extremely challenging.
Is there any video evidence?
Not at this time.
Any video evidence?
Have you ever seen a case like this? Like, is there anything different about it?
Have you ever seen a case like
The
this?
OSBI covers all kinds of cases. Each case is different in their own way. They're all just as important to us. But, you know, this case was tragic. You have 2 people who are dead, and 4 people that committed an absolutely brutal crime. And so, again, that's why it took every agency involved in this in order to get this done.
Those 4 are still being held here?
Yes.
Those 4 still being held here, Texas County.
Is everybody
Yes.
good? Thank you, everybody, for coming.
All right. And there you have it. 100 law enforcement officers working 24/7 for 15 days until the arrests of the 4 monsters who are responsible for the murders of Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley. It's heartbreaking. Tifany Adams, Tad Cullum, Cole Twombly, and Cora Twombly are all in custody in Texas County, Oklahoma. And prayers up for the families of Veronica and Jilian, and to all of you who helped and spoke out and gave tips to law enforcement. We've yet to know that the 2 bodies are actually Veronica and Jilian, but he did say in that presser that they do believe that both women are dead. And that's a very, very sad ending to this story. Thank you to my moderators, as always, for keeping the chat classy, to all of the viewers, to my channel members who subscribe to me on a monthly basis. I love you so much. And we're due to have a members only live very soon. Please hit the like button, share the stream. It helps the information get out. When I first started covering this, it was only an Oklahoma story, and so many people who lived in Kansas and Oklahoma had not even heard about this story yet. And that was 3 days after Veronica Butler and Jilian Kelley went missing. So let's share it. Let's let people know. And hopefully everyone who lives in the Oklahoma Panhandle feels a little bit safer tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. And just remember, be cool, be kind, be classy. It's not hard, you guys. It's really not hard. Peace. I'll be following this story with you until the very end. Good night, everyone.